Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even in my feelings, grind don't stop. Got big dreams, want big rocks. I got plans, you got talk. Heard it's real cheap, but it's really gon' cost. I'm tryna get these ends, building empires with my friends. I'm about handling my business. No time for stress over bullshit. You think success is an option? I'm tryna get this shit poppin' like woo. Big moves, my rules. Y'all heavy on the tweeting. I'll disappear a whole season like woo. Who said they looking for me? I'ma make you.
Hey DeMarie TV family, so today I'm going to be reviewing Love Marriage Huntsville's season 6 episode 22, but this is going to be a little bit different. This episode was a lot, and so it was a lot going on, and I don't want to try to pack everything into one review, so I'm gonna break this up into 3 pieces based on the scene. So when we take in the Scott's home, we'll do that as part 1. We'll do the gym as part 2. We'll do the storage at unit where Melody meets with KeKe as part 3. I will say this. I watched on Saturday. I was way too aggravated and upset to do the video. This really disturbed me. It troubled me. I did not like, a lot of things that I was seeing, but I just thought to myself, you know what? You need to take some time back and think before you just dive in. Just think about this and kind of figure out what's going on and break it down in your mind before you openly just go out and speak based on emotion. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to take them. I'm going to separate them into 3 parts. So let's get started at the Scotts. So the scene picks up right where we left out the last time. KeKe drink slaps Tisha, and Marceau kicks in, and he's upset, and he makes a comment about they should call the police and have them drug test her ass. So essentially, this is just Marceau, boom, going in and trying to immediately distract. Okay, so he plays Run from Amin as he's talking shit, and Amin's coming for him, and he's circling and hiding behind women. He does that. Maurice, another gentleman in a purple shirt, and Kimmy and Jalen escort KeKe and Amin off of the property. Now let me just say this. The way that Kimmy decides to put her hands on KeKe and push her very aggressively off the property, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. I think that she's right for trying to break it up and escorting them off the property, but the aggressiveness with which she pushed her, Kimmy better watch it. Kimmy tries it a lot for me, and I'm not feeling Kimmy at all in this part of this episode. I am not feeling her at all. I understand that you may feel like KeKe's disrespecting your home. I understand you wanting her to leave, but you putting your hands on her and pushing her like that could have went really wrong if KeKe was not so focused on Marceau and Tisha. Because you can put your hands like that on the wrong person and they can end up snapping the hell off on you. The push was way too much for me. So at this time, Melody and Stormy follow KeKe down, and Melody makes the comment to Maurice that she's sorry that this happened at his home. Now, granted, nobody wants someone coming to their home and fighting and having altercations and bringing bad energy and, fights to their house. It is disrespectful to go to someone else's home and do that. It is, okay? However, I do not believe that a drink slap warrants all of this. It's a little bit extra, in my opinion. She threw a drink on her, okay? We've watched this happen, again, as I've said before on my previous review. This has happened on reality television forever. She did not punch her, she didn't hit her, she didn't drag her. She drink slapped her. It was a great drink slap. Let's not get it twisted. It was amazing. However, that is the extent to all of this. That's it. Many of people have done it, and to equate someone who drink slaps someone or throws a drink on someone to that person having to be on drugs is not fair, and it's inappropriate, period. So Melody and Stormy follow KeKe down to the end of the driveway. I mean, as they're waiting by the car. And they begin to discuss what happened. So Melody is asking her, why did you throw the drink on her? What happened? Did something happen before? She's basically trying to figure out what caused this altercation, trying to get her to explain the why behind throwing the water on Tisha. And she's trying to probe her to see, did something else happen? Did I miss something? Because this seems to be a lot for somebody just not to speak. Now, in retrospect, based on all the things that have come out thus far this week, Melody was right. It is a lot more to this story. It's a whole lot more to this story. But at the time, it just didn't make sense to Melody. To me, it makes perfect sense when you're talking about a cousin treating her the way that Tisha just treated her. I find it disturbing that we have watched these people pile on Melody for years and now they're piling on KeKe. I do not like it, and I think that could push anyone to react the way she reacts. They're doing too much. They're doing too much to her. The way they are discussing her past drug addiction, her current situation, her health, the way they speak to her and degrade her, the way they talk as if she is beneath them as a person who has nothing to lose, that is disrespectful on so many levels. And it's so disturbing how this group becomes cliquey and decides they want to find somebody to focus their negative attention on. We watched them do it with Mel, and now they're doing it with KeKe. And it's all of them doing it with the exception of Melody. And the Fletchers. And that's not right. People should not treat other people that way. And I'm just wondering why, I don't know why anyone would want to associate with the Scotts. It's beyond me. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, Melody, you ought to know what caused her to throw the drink, because you threw a drink on this same show at Martell when he was popping off at the mouth. He was hitting below the belt and you had it. KeKe is exactly in that same position. Now, later on in the show, they do flip and go back to show Melody when she threw the drink. But I'm not sure that that was top of mind for her at the moment that she was discussing this with KeKe. Because in this instance, I agree with Stormy. Sometimes people just go off. They just pop off. You know, you have to understand that when you are coming at somebody or you are acting crazy with somebody, you don't know where they are before you start that. Tisha kicked this off by being disrespectful to her cousin, hugging her husband, speaking to her husband, and deciding she was going to start some shit by not speaking to KeKe. She could have just said, hey, KeKe, how you doing? And that would have been that. Or she could have just said, you know what, we both here today, but there's some issues going on. I don't really want to engage with you right now. Let's just keep it cool. And that's that. But she didn't. And in addition to that, Marceau had no right to make this about drug addiction. Drug addiction should have had nothing to do with the scene. I'm amazed that Kimmy feels so free to engage in conversations about someone's drug addiction, and she is a medical professional. It's inappropriate. Drugs have nothing to do with it. And by the way, this whole, oh my goodness, she's a drug addict thing that you're doing, you're offending a whole lot of people. It's a whole lot of people who unwillingly got addicted to no fault of their own, I might add. Most of these drugs were not bought on a corner or sniffed up somebody's nose. A doctor handed these people a prescription and they went to the pharmacy and got that medication, just like most of us go to get medication every month. They did not know the drug would have this impact on them. Their body reacted differently to this medication and they became addicted to it. That is not something you criticize and joke about. Marceau, Mr. I would never laugh at somebody in that condition. Remember, he said that at the reunion, at the last reunion, he said that he would never laugh at someone's drug addiction. And right here we have him on camera doing exactly that, laughing. Melody was telling the truth from jump. That is not something that you use and weaponize. That is a truth that most people are embarrassed to deal with, and he knows that. And that's why he took it there with KeKe, because he knows most people in that crowd, he's capable of shaping their mind. He knows how to kick in. Maurice knows how to support him in the bullshit always. Maurice and Marceau tag team these scenes in which they deflect all the time. They're masterminds at deflection. Martel, Marceau, and Maurice are all narcissists, and narcissists deflect as a way of controlling situations and conversations. And Marceau is a master at it, and Maurice is his wingman all the time. You see it at reunions, you see it on their scenes. That is what they do. And it is clearly a behavior that they picked up on in their youth. This is not something new that they've learned. They're masters at this. And the pick-me's that they with go right along with whatever they say. Now, I agree that KeKe should apologize to the Scotts because she did interrupt their party, and what she did was disrespect their homes. I do not think she owes Tisha an apology at all. I think her and Tisha, this relationship is run its course. I think there needs to be years before they ever, if you choose to attempt to recover and get back, I think it needs to be years that go by, and I think it needs to be a natural recovery that happens on its own. I don't think it needs to be forced. I just think at this point, you go your separate ways and you build your lives as individuals without each other. You don't call, you don't support, you don't have each other's back, you don't defend, none of that. If someone calls you and tell you that Tisha's being cheated on by Marceau, you do not pick up the phone, you do not call her, you do not try to protect her, you do not defend her, and you should not even listen to it. Just tell them, this has nothing to do with me, I don't associate with Tisha anymore, hang up, and that's that. And let me say this for the umpteenth time. Tisha is okay with Marceau sleeping with whoever he wants to. The problem Tisha has with these situations is she does not want this public. She has an image that she wants to maintain. She needs him to do that. And as long as he keeps his affairs under wrap, she is 100% okay with him sleeping with whomever and whatever he wants to. She does not care. So we should not care. It's her body. It's her life. And if she chooses to put herself at risk by accepting this behavior, that is her choice. Not all marriages are structured in a traditional way that we understand marriage to be. Some women have decided it's okay for my husband to cheat as long as it does not impact my household. As long as we can function every day and everything is normal in my household, my friends are good and they don't know nothing about what he's doing, I'm good. But if it gets out, it's a problem. And I'm gonna tell you a couple of cues that you can pick up on. With these people, don't always pay attention to the people that the camera is focused on. Look at what's going on in the background. Pay attention to body language. So Tisha is going into the home to speak with Kimmy about what happened. Kimmy did not need a lot of explanation. The minute Tisha opened her mouth, she was like, oh, like she knew exactly what everybody was talking about. She already knew. Martel already knew. Marceau standing at the door trying to talk to Tisha about what KeKe was trying to do. And she tells Kimmy, she cuts him off and says, Kimmy, can you get me a wet wipe or something? She mentioned like that. And Kimmy takes off and she starts walking into the kitchen. And Tisha looks at him as if she's so sick of having to deal with this with him. The look she gives him is like she does not really want to hear him or have him around right now. So she walks right on past him and goes over to Kimmy. Now, look at Kimmy when she's saying, did you know that this was happening before we invited them to the house? Jalen is right in the kitchen and he just laughs and walks out the door, shaking his head. He's walking off shaking his head and he does not answer. Maybe he answered and they did not show it, but he did not answer on the show. I can't imagine what he's seen and what he knows having worked at Black. But he didn't make a comment. He didn't say, oh, that's not true and people shouldn't believe rumors and all that stuff. He didn't say nothing. So he knows about it. Then, and I will say this, I feel like when Melody walked down with KeKe to the end of the driveway. I wish she would have grabbed her purse as well and left. Just like she did in the scene when they were at the spa and they started arguing and she got her stuff and she removed herself. I wish she had taken that very same approach here, because what they do is they go and they sit at the table, and actually first they start to go get some food. And Melody asks, is Tisha okay? Tisha comes out in the same shirt. She must really be proud of this shirt she's wearing. Very concerned that she wants to be the only woman at the barbecue in a top that has holes all over the place with her bra showing. Everybody else got on t-shirts, sundresses, skirts, tennis shoes. They're appropriately dressed for a barbecue. Tisha is doing a lot, and it just gives thirsty. That's what it just signals thirsty. And so she decided she was going to keep that on, irregardless of what was splashed on her, because she wanted to be in that top, and that was that. She never asked Kimmy for another shirt. Anyway, they're getting their plates. Marceau's sitting at the table. Melody says to Marceau, I think she's like, hey, are you okay? Or something like that. Table to sit down and talk to Marceau. Tisha is almost running in heels. She was not going to allow Melody to sit at that table and talk to Marceau by himself, which is confusing to me. Why are you concerned with if he talks to Marceau, but you know he's sleeping with all these people and you do not care? What's the point of it? Why rush over to the table? Is it because you saw kind of him relax and get ready to go into another one of his, when Melody started walking over there, he's like, oh yeah, I get to talk to Mel. It's just nasty. So here they go. They're all sitting at the table now, and it's just destroy KeKe, rip her to shreds, talk about her drug addiction and how she's all over the place, and just make a mockery out of this woman, which is what they've been doing all season long. Let's not get it twisted. And then Tiffany decides to chime in. The worst type of person to have around you is someone who has nothing to lose. I beg your pardon, Tiffany. Where is your husband, ma'am? Where is Lou? Speaking of what people have to lose, where's Lou? Because I 100% think you are losing him at this very moment. So you might want to find your husband and stay out of other people's business. And KeKe is a human being. She's married. She has children. She is employed on the same reality show you are employed on. And she does have something to lose. Just like everyone else sitting there, she has something valuable to her that she does not want to lose. So Marceau's talking, and him and Tisha are doing their confessional, and he makes the statement that KeKe wants the life that Tisha has. Nobody wants Tisha's life, Marceau. Nobody wants to be Tisha. Tisha is not a goal in anybody's life. Nobody is trying to take the role of Tisha. Most women think Tisha is pathetic. They despise the role that she has decided to keep herself in, and that is why you be catching so much damn flack. Don't nobody want to do that. And furthermore, you and Tisha have been trying to be Mel and Martell since this show began. You all wanted to be the Holtz when they were a family. You wanted what they had when they were a family, and that's why you think the way you think. You all decided to mimic them, and you believe everyone else lives their life that way. Nobody's checking for Tisha. Nobody's checking for you. Nobody wants to be you and Tisha. Nobody wants that dynamic, period. It's not a desirable thing. So then Tisha and KeKe's cousin Courtney is there. And they're all talking about what happened and why it happened. And eventually Melody decides to get up and go home. And she says goodbye to everybody, and they continue talking. And Marceau and Stormy get into a conversation about drug addiction. Stormy made the comment that KeKe was clean, and they didn't like that. They was like, KeKe's not clean. And Marceau said, well, how do you feel like you would know anything about that? How would you know anything about it if anyone's clean or not? And she just blatantly told him, one of my best friends was on drugs. She lived with me. She used to watch my son. And of course, he makes a comment about it that hurt Stormy and triggered her, and she started crying. And she gets up, she walks from the table. Tisha did not get up to follow her. No one went over there to assist her not Tiffany, not Kimmy. It was Courtney, Tisha's cousin, who went over and was comforting Stormy when she was crying. And then Marceau comes over and he apologizes, and Stormy says, well, in that way, she believes, he was sorry. I don't think he's sorry. I think what happened was, in his mind, he's like, oh shit, I've done it again, and I did not want to deal with Mr. Beasley. So let me go ahead and fix this, because, I ain't got time to be dealing with her husband. Because he knows he's been in trouble for saying something to her before. And as we seen with he don't want no trouble with men. He only wants beef with women. So Stormy decides to leave, and the Fletchers decide to leave. And essentially the only other thing that happened here that was worth commenting on was when Maurice gave Kimmy her vehicle. Now, I would not even have addressed this part of the episode except for the fact that I think it was very revealing in how it all played out with how they feel about Mel. And the reason I say this is this. Jalen pulls up with the vehicle, Kimmy screaming about this Jeep. Whatever. It's not that impressive to me, but she's screaming about the Jeep. Maurice acts like he's done this magical thing to find this Jeep that was really hard to find, even though it's Jeep dealerships all around there. Okay? Kimmy goes and she gets in the car, and Melody is really going out of her way to try to make Kimmy feel excited about this. She's clapping, dancing, telling her to act bad, act bad. Kimmy's dancing and talking all her stuff. Oh yeah, I got my truck. And then she calls over her friend to get in the car with her. She didn't invite anybody else to ride with her. She didn't say, girls, get in the car, let's go for a ride. I find it odd if my girls are at my house and I get a vehicle, I would have said, y'all hop in, let's go. I would not have singled out one person and said, you get in the car and let's go for a ride. But Melody's still there near the car talking to her. She never asked Mel to get into the car. Melody is literally standing at the doorway of the Jeep, at the window on the passenger side, talking to Kimmy, sharing in her joy and excitement about the vehicle. And Kimmy literally floors the truck and backs up with Melody standing right there. Look at Kimmy's best friend's face. She is shocked and mortified that she would pull away in this vehicle with Melody this close to the car. Look at her face, and then look at Kimmy's face. She intentionally did that. She did it on purpose. They don't like Mel at all. Look at Kimmy's face and look at her friend's face. That could have went really wrong there. Now this could have went wrong in so many ways. It could have snagged her clothing, pulled her along with the truck. She could have ran over her foot. It was so shocking to the passenger. Look at her face as she looks at Kimmy as she pulled off. She was troubled by that, as she should have been. All she had to say was, Mel, I'm about to head out. We're going to go for a ride. Back up from the truck. I'm about to pull off. Or she could have just said, I'm about to pull off, so I'll be right back. And Mel would have backed up. When she did that, Melody just politely went on back over to Maurice and made a statement about her pulling up the car off. But I just feel like it's just such a level of disrespect that they have for her. They do not care for her like that. They don't. They don't check for her, and they don't care for her like that. And so that is a part of the reason that I say I wish when KeKe left and she walked down to speak with KeKe, she would have left that whole scene and let them finish it out. Now, I don't know on the back end how that works, or if she was required to stay. I do not know. But I wish that had been the situation that played out, because I don't think it helped her by being there after the fact. So, I will say this, and I have been saying this for quite some time. These rumors with Marceau and Tisha are what they are. They're not going to change, and people can believe them or not. KeKe has released a video saying that the guy who told her about the rumor, basically she's trying to show that he is someone who's out for himself, but she's also demonstrating that she was not out here throwing this rumor out to everyone. That came to her. And the recording is, she's trying to demonstrate that it came to her. What I will say in response to this is, KeKe, you're going to have to move through this however you need to move through it. But for me, it should be deaded. You should not be trying to justify anything, explain anything. You should not keep talking about it. It's over. And so is the relationship. leave them people alone. If they don't want to be affiliated with you, don't be affiliated with them. Melody and Martell are not together. They go and they film the scenes they have to, and then other than that, they keep it moving. And that's the way you need to treat Tisha and her husband, period. It's unfortunate that you're family, but that's the way you should move. She's okay with whatever he's doing, so there should never be a time that you feel the need to address it. There should never be a time that you feel the need that you have to run and tell her anything. She doesn't care. And if she does care, she'll let everybody else know. So that is my conclusion to this portion, part 1 of the episode review. I'll likely drop number 2 tomorrow and number 3 on Wednesday, but I just really wanted to take some time and put some thought into each of these different scenes, because this really was a lot. It was just a lot going on that really bothered me, and I'm really troubled at the way they treated KeKe. I'm troubled with some of the scenes with Mel and how it was portrayed, and we don't know the back end, and Mel's not really speaking about it, so it was just bothersome. It really was. And so I just wanted to take some time and really make a point to stress that Tisha's okay with this, and everybody else is just gonna have to be okay with it. She does not care. Okay, so what do you think about that? Drop me some comments. What do you guys think about my perspective? What's your perspective on it? Like the video, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you are notified when I release my next video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.